Hey guys, welcome to session number 8 of my free November webinar series. Today we're going to talk about advanced improvisation scales. So this is our scales for improvisation part 3. Just quickly, you can see the schedule here. Today is the 21st, so scales part 3. I'm also going to be doing a special live session tomorrow in which I'm answering your questions. So be sure to check your email. If you happen to be seeing this on YouTube or something, be sure to click below this video and make sure that you sign up for the webinar series at thatpianowithwillie.com/November. That way you'll get that email. I'm also going to do that again over the weekend as well. So we get a lot of cool training that is absolutely free that I hope that you'll take advantage of. All right, so let's get started here. Last session, I worked through improvisation. Let me just play this for you. So we have. Okay, so we end up going to a C minor chord right over here. Okay, so there's no C minor chord listed there, but just know that we're going to end up going to a C minor 7 at that point. Okay. All right, so this was basically, I'm showing you how you can utilize chord tones, how you could utilize your scales. This again is an outline of the chords, scales, scale, well actually scale right there, and then this is an outline of the chord, okay? So so basically what you got going on here is that you're using chord tones and just the major scale of the key. And that sounds fine. You could get a pretty darn good improvisation right there just using those techniques, okay? Let me play it again. I'll put the band track on for you as well. And remember that you get this sheet music and the band track if you were on my email list. You'll end up getting that via email. So let me just go ahead and play this for you. Okay. All right, so now let's talk about how we can start to take this and start to make it sound a little bit more interesting improvisation-wise and start to weave lines. Remember that improvisation is all about weaving a line, okay? You want to have, it's all about the line. So it's not about the notes, it's not necessarily about the dynamics or the rhythm, it's about the line. So look at it this way. When you speak, you're putting words together, right? But you understand that when you put those words together, they have to have a flow to them. If I just simply put one word after another, like, you know those like telephone things where like, hello, if you want Mr. Johnson, press 1. I mean, it sounds so jagged because it doesn't have that flow. That's what we're looking for in our improvisation is the flow. So how do you get that flow? Number one, you have to have the technique in order to get that flow. So what does that mean as a pianist or any type of instrumentalist? You have to know your major scales. I've been hammering this throughout this whole webinar series. You have to know your major scales. If you don't know your major scales, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to be able to improvise. And when I say know your major scales, I mean being able to sit down and just be able to play them up and down, like contrary motion, you know? All right, just being able to move up and down those major scales. If you need help with that, I have a program called Piano Essentials. It's at the main Piano with Willie site, and that's a program that's available for all of my Piano with Willie students. Piano Essentials and Chord Essentials. Go through all of the 12 major scales. Okay, so now let's talk about an example here. And this one is what I would label as not great, okay? And let me just play it for you here so you can hear it. Oops. And we'll end up on that C minor. I'll play it along with the band for you so you can hear it with the band as well. Oh, that's why. Playing that repeated note there. Okay. This right here is definitely not great, the repeated note, but let me just go ahead and do it again, just so you can hear it with that repeated note. Whoops. Missed the first beat. All right, so now let's talk about what makes this not so great. When you improvise, you want to try and put your chord tones on the beat. So if we take a look at just regular 4/4 time, okay, just regular 4/4 time, so 4/4, we have what? 4 beats in each measure, correct? And now what we can do is when we improvise, we think, okay, well, we got this scale, so we can just like play whatever notes that we want in this scale here. So, just do whatever we want up there, right? Whatever it is, whatever notes, as long as we're within that scale, we're okay, right? And that's not true. Yes, the notes are going to sound okay, but you're going to find that you're going to be kind of missing something. And what you're going to be missing is the outline of the harmony. The outline of the harmony. And what I mean by that is that when we improvise, we're improvising over what? Over chord changes, right? So we have like this E flat chord. Now remember, what are the notes of my E flat major 7th chord? The notes are E flat, G, B flat, D. Okay, whoops, let me make that so you can see that. All right, so E flat, G, B flat, and D. So now that doesn't mean that we have to play this on each one of these beats. No, that's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that these 4 notes here, those are the notes of our chord. Okay? So now when we are improvising, we want to keep that in mind. Okay? So that when we improvise, we think, okay, so we have these 4 beats here. Rather than playing a non-chord tone on those beats, try playing a chord tone on the beats. And this is one of the reasons why the bebop scale came about, is because by adding in that extra note in there, you're able to make it so that when you play an 8th note line, your chord tones fit on the beat. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay? See how these chord tones for the C6 chord fall right on the beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Whereas if I just played the major scale, it'd be 1 and 2, okay, and 3, ooh, F, and 4 and 1, right? So now you're completely off. So that's where that major bebop scale comes in. Same thing with the dominant bebop scale. Okay? That's so that those chord tones fall on the beats. So when we're improvising, take a look at what I did here. So what do I have going on here? In fact, I don't even have to go beyond this. This is fine right here. So what do I have going on here? I have, oops. I have my beat here, 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 and here. Okay? So right here I got a rest. Right here I have a D. Okay, not bad. It's a chord tone. Right here I have a G. Okay, not bad. But right here I have an A flat. All right? Not really that good. Over here I got a G, A flat, C, and B flat. So immediately, like these two, now those aren't very good, are they? Okay? When I go over here to the D, all right, that one's fine. I guess that one's fine. That one's fine as well. This one, no. But look at this. It's 3 of exactly the same notes I keep going back to. When I go to the G, what do I have? There's my flat 13, the E flat, okay? Then I have the root, all right. Then I have, that's the sharp 9, okay, because it's really a B flat with the key signature, all right? And I go to the G. So no on that one and no on that one. So I got a lot of non-chord tones hitting on the beat. So now let me show you a different example, one that I would consider to be better. Okay. Put the band track on. Now, do you notice the difference there? Like, it's very, very subtle, but now you kind of see that, oh, all right, yeah, it kind of outlines and shapes that harmony a lot better, doesn't it? Let's analyze what's going on here. So, again, nothing on the beat there. That's a chord tone, chord tone, chord tone. Good. That measure's fine. Next one. There's the root, the third, the root. Boom. Oops. Good. This one. There's the root, the flat 5. Okay. This one here, now that's the 11th, so no. Okay. But now we go down to the 3rd. So okay, so we're so-so on this one. Okay. And then on this one, we have the root, this is sharp 9, okay, and the 7th, right? So the same thing there. So what you'll notice, though, is that I have a lot more of my chord tones that are hitting on the beat. So when I create a line, I'm kind of thinking about that. Now, for improvisation, if we break this down, like this is part 3 now. So in part 1, I was talking about how you just basically take that major scale and just try playing the major scale over all of the chords. Now in part 2, we started to talk about how can we bring in some chord tones to your improvisation to make it so that your improvisation is a little bit more structured. Okay, I mean there's a little bit more structure there. Now in part 3, now what we're doing is we're starting to shape that a little bit more. All right, we're starting to shape that improvisation by now starting to make some very distinct choices about, well, what notes do we want to choose and why are we choosing those notes? Now, for me, that's one of the most important things when playing music. Okay, like from a theoretical side. Okay, there's the whole visceral side where it's just play and like passion and all of that, and I definitely subscribe to that. But from the cerebral side, when I start to like really think about what it is that I'm doing, I want to know what I'm doing and why it's working, because if I know what I'm doing, I know why it's working, then I can do what? I can recreate the darn thing. I can do it again somewhere else on a different song. But if I'm just kind of like, oh yeah. I like the sound of that, but I have no idea why I like the sound of it. No, that doesn't work for me personally. And I would suggest that you start to take a mindset in which that doesn't work for you either, right? So if you find something you like the sound of it, figure out why. So now we're starting to shape our improvisation a little bit. So now what does that mean for you when you practice? Here's one example. This is a springboard that you can utilize for your improvisation. So now we've already done in part 1 and in part 2 a whole bunch of chords for There Will Never Be Another You. You have the play along track with those, I think it was like 16 measures that we ended up doing. Okay, so now you got the first 16 measures of the song. I'm giving you 4 measures right here pre-written. So now my suggestion is take those other 12 measures and start to come up with your own idea for improvisation, right? Really start to shape it. And this is how you do it. What you're looking for, again, know your scale, okay? Make sure that you know that major scale inside and out. My suggestion is that when you're just like walking down the street or like at your job or whatever, like in the shower, just like, okay, E flat major scale, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat, all right? The 3rd is G, the 5th is B flat, the 9th is F, the 13th is C, the 6th is C, whichever way you want to look at it. 7 is D, sharp 9 is F sharp. Like just really get to know that scale and all of those tensions. All right, E flat major 7 chord, E flat G, B flat D, E flat minor 7 chord, E flat G flat, B flat, D flat, all right? Like really know the chords and the scale inside and out. If you haven't done so, and definitely, if you're a member of Piano with Willie, make sure that you go through the Piano Essentials. And by the way, this is Black Friday week, so we're going to be having a lot of membership specials. Got some really good deals coming up this week. So make sure that you check the website, make sure that you check your email, because you don't want to miss out on some of those really good deals. I'm also going to post a link down below these videos in this November webinar series, so any of them you'll be able to see our Black Friday deals as well, at least for the next couple of weeks. So be sure to check that out if you want to study with me, because I'm also coming out with something brand new, which I'll just give you kind of a little sneak peek, and that is one-to-one live coaching via Skype. So make sure that you look for that announcement as well. So make sure that you know your scale. That's step 1, right? The next thing is make sure that you can move around that scale. So that like when you're playing E flat major scale, make sure you really know. Oh, now, if you're saying, "Oh, you're playing too fast. I don't know what you're playing at." Well, it doesn't matter. I'm just playing the E flat major scale. The point is, I'm able to play that scale freely wherever I'm going. I don't have to just play it up and down like that. I can play it in any direction. I can move it around because I know that shape of E flat major. So you have to make sure that you know that shape. Now, once you could do that, now start to outline those chords as well. All right, and then D minor 7 flat 5. Notice in the left hand, I'm just playing my simple chord shells. G7 flat 9. Okay, I can even just play a plain old G7, but I like adding in that flat 9. Okay, so now once you know your scale, once you know your chord tones, and again, I can't stress this enough. When I say no, I don't mean darn it, what is it? Yeah, that's it. No. I mean, bam, E flat major 7, D minor 7 flat 5, G7 flat 9, C minor 7, all right? Like, you know how to get to those chords. Now, if you're thinking, that's a pain in the ass, all right? Sorry, but that's a pain, right? To have to do all that. Yeah, you bet it is. It's a pain, all right? I mean, it's called practice. Hello, it's like this is what we do. You got to work for that stuff. And that's why you work that stuff away from the piano, right? And if you say like, oh, I only have 15 minutes a day to be at the piano. All right, fine. You got 15 minutes a day at the piano. Guess what? You got another 23 hours, 45 minutes away from the piano. You could still practice away from the piano. If you need some help on that, I have lessons in the Piano with Willie site on that as well, how to do practice away from the piano. But there's so much practice that I used to practice away from the piano constantly. In fact, there's a story of Bud Powell, famous jazz pianist. He was actually locked up in in a sanitarium or something, and he couldn't play piano. And he visualized a keyboard on the ceiling and would kind of work stuff out on the ceiling. You hear about people, Art Pepper was in jail, for drugs or something like that. And he made a little saxophone. He was a saxophone player. He made a little saxophone out of a tin can and would practice saxophone, and practice lines and stuff like that. Because remember, when you're talking improvisation, right? And if you're a beginner listening to this, these are not this is not a beginner conversation. This isn't just okay, this is how you play a C chord and an F chord. This is a little bit more advanced in thinking about improvisation. And if you're also looking at this thinking oh, I just want you to show me all of the lines for improvisation, again, you're thinking about it the wrong way. Improvisation is an art form. And that means that there's anything that has to deal with art is you have to kind of get inside of it, and you have to really think about it in terms of okay, what's the concept? What's my idea here? It's not just as simple as these are the notes that you play. Okay, I mean that's ridiculous. That's paint by numbers. We're not doing paint by numbers here, right? This is actual improvisation, that creative juices. So you have to get inside of that stuff, and it doesn't have to be at the piano. That could be away from the piano. And how you do that is the first two things I said: major scale, chord tones. Make sure that you know those things. Now, step 3 is what we were just talking about here today, and that is now once you get in here, now start to analyze, the line. Okay, take a look at that line. You say oh, okay, yeah, I like that. I like this kind of eighth rest here, and then that little triplet figure, and then kind of coming down, right? But now you might look at this stuff, and you might say, all right, so let's take this line right here. It's okay, you know what? I like this, but I don't really like, oh man, going to that G. Okay, so now maybe instead I go to A flat there, and then go to G, and then F. All right, maybe I like that better. Okay, so go to A flat and then G. So now I'm starting to make choices. Now I'm starting to make decisions about which direction do I want my improvisation to go and why. All right? So hopefully you start to see that power there. All right? 3-step process. All right? Number 1, know your major scale inside and out, no excuses. Number 2, know your chords tones inside and out, no excuses. All right? And then when I say inside and out, I mean bam, you can just play those this is all D minor 7 flat 5. You're just comfortable with this. You just know those chord tones. G7 flat 9, all right? You just know all of that. Step 3, now start to make choices in your improvisation when you're using your major scale, your chord tones. Now start to think, oh, I want chord tones on the beat because I want to shape this harmony a little bit more, all right? And then this is also maybe where you could start to see, oh, chord tone, chord tone, chord tone, chord tone, right? So these notes in between here are kind of like passing tones. So you could start with quarter notes, put quarter notes in for your chord tones, all right? So again, like, you know, maybe you have chord tone, chord tone, chord tone, chord tone as quarter notes, right? And then you put your little passing tones in between. Those are the other notes from the scale, and you start to link them together into eighth note lines. Why eighth note lines? Because eighth note lines are a good place to start because it makes it so you have to keep this consistent flow. Remember, again, what are we looking for? We're looking for this, all right? We're looking for the line, right? It's all about the line. If your lines look like this, no good, okay? You want a line that's flowing, you know? You don't want to go up and down, blah, 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 all over the place, all right? So you want that nice flowing line. And what I mean by that flowing line is literally going up, some coming up, some coming down, some going up and down, right? And then we can also get into our dynamics and stuff like that. And that's what we're going to end up talking about later on. Space, dynamics, rhythm. These are the next three things that you can add to this that I did not add to this. Space, dynamics, and rhythm, okay? Because the rhythm right now is pretty flat. We put that triplet figure in there. There's really no space at all in this line, okay? We could add in some space. We can definitely add in some dynamics as well. And then with that dynamics is also articulation, all right? Articulation as well. That's really important as well, where you like really articulate some of the notes and accent some of the notes, okay? So anyway, if you haven't taken a look at part 1 and part 2 of this series, definitely take a look at those, all right? If you haven't gotten the jam tracks or anything like that, make sure that you go back to pianowithwillie.com/November. If you've already done that, you've already registered, you still haven't gotten them, then write into us. The email address, it's not on there. I will put it on here, okay? The email address, wm@jazzedge.com, all right? That goes into our, all right, wm@jazzedge.com, all right? That goes right into support, all right? And then you'll get a ticket back, and then just let us know that you're looking for the jam tracks for the November webinar series, okay? Be sure to join me tomorrow. I'm going to send out a special email today to everyone who's registered on pianowithwillie.com/November. All right, only those people will get an email about my live session tomorrow. And I'm going to be also doing another live session over the weekend. I don't know when yet, so be sure to check for that email. And also, like I said, if you're interested in really getting some of the Black Friday specials and want to study with me and study personally with me via Skype as well, then be sure to come back and check for the link underneath this video as well on YouTube, or check your email. I'm going to be sending out a link for that. Okay? All right, so anyway, thank you guys very much for hanging with me on this. Be sure to check out these other sessions. Share this stuff, you know, help me out. I'm giving all this information for free. All I'm asking is, hey, look, if you know somebody that would like it, put it on your Facebook page. Definitely like the video below. Make sure that you subscribe to my videos. All of that stuff helps, lets me know that what I'm doing, we're on the right track, okay? And if you don't like it, well, hey, then go find another video on YouTube. All right, so anyway, thanks everyone very much. Have a great holiday if I don't see you, all right? But I will be seeing you on these webinars, okay? But if you can't join me, have yourself a great holiday, and I will talk to you soon. All right, take care.